Okay, so verse 12 is that teaching, that prohibition to the woman to teach Bible doctrine. By the way, women are the best teachers. Naturally, they are great teachers. As mothers, they teach the children very well, very well, yes. Much better teachers than men are. And in churches, they are not prohibited to teach the children in Sunday school. But here it is talking about men of older age, a man who's already mature. That is, depending on the society, for age 13 perhaps. Yes, I know, we live in a society that we mature at the age of 30, 35. Okay. Furthermore, uk, a very strong negative, uk, epitrepo, I do not permit, I do not allow, present active indicative of epitrepo. The present tense is agnomic present. This is to all the churches. Active voice, Paul produces the action of the verb as God's main apostle. And the indicative mood, this is for the reality of the prohibition of the woman to teach. I do not permit, gunaiki, the dative, I do not permit women, and then we have the present active infinitive of didasko, to teach. I do not permit women to teach. Nor ude, nor another infinitive, autente. This is the present active infinitive of autenteo, to have authority. And then we have here the genitive of subordination, authority over the man. Then contrast, but anai, to be, and now here it is, it complements, it's a contrast from this that was said prior. But to be, and esuchia, again, once again, esuchia, in silence. Now, esuchia does mean silence. It means quietness of the soul. It means tranquility in the inner life. It means mental stability. It means without hang-ups. It implies that a woman cannot learn when she is reacting. When she reacts to the authority of her pastor, she is not going to listen. She is not going to learn anything. She reacts, she makes a face, and she immediately turns to her friend and she demands immediate dialogue. She has to say something to express her vituperation. And that's the way it normally tends to be. And you can always tell when a woman is reacting. A woman who is anti-authority is always ugly. You can tell when she has mental attitude sins. You can see it in her face. It's wonderful to be a woman. And I always thought, as men, we don't really have much into it. But we have a benefit that when we get some wrinkles in our face, it doesn't look so bad. They are wisdom, or we're aging like wine, etc. But a woman, you could see it right away. You could see the wrinkles. You could see that. You could see the mental attitude sins. You could see the rejection of authority. You could see the bitterness. You could see the lack of animation in her face. If she rejected towards someone's authority, if she rebelled against life in general, if she rebelled against life because fuck man, and I'm bitter and this and that, you're going to see it in her face. She's like a ghoul walking around. And she can have all the makeup in her face. She can have all the filters in her face. You're going to be able to detect it if you know something. But yes, it goes back to the woman in the garden. She rejected God's authority. She rejected her monologue. Immediately, she fell for Satan's dialogue, Satan's approach of equality. Let's have a conversation. Yes, let's talk about it. What is your opinion? And there she goes. Ye shall fall special. So this is the mandate prohibiting the woman to teach. And many people hate this, but there's a wonderful promise here that they miss. They just react. The woman reacts in her feminism and boom, she misses out on this great promise of beauty that God has for her, because she just focused on this. And I don't like it. And why should I not teach? I'm also a human being. I could perhaps teach better than men. And maybe, yes, you can. But the mandate is right here. And now 13 goes to the garden. For Adam eplas they, he was formed protos, first. For Adam was formed first. He was obviously formed first, and he was meant to be the ruler of all the earth before he fell, and be the ruler of Eve. Eta, here we have the adverb of chronological sequence. Then, Ewa, Ewa, Ehwa, Hewa, Eve. It comes from the Hebrew Chowa, but that was the name after she fell. Right here is just going along with and calling her Eve because that's what everyone knows her as. Then Ewa. Then verse 14. Furthermore, Guy, Adam, Uk, not. And what is it here? The main verb, epateithe. This is the aorist passive indicative of apatao, the aorist tense, and this means deceived. He was not deceived. The aorist tense goes back to the garden. All the time that he was in the garden, he was not the one. He was the one that was not deceived. He was not deceived. Oh, he might have been a pansy in choosing his woman over God, but he was not deceived. Two different things. Passive voice is that he received the action of the verb of not being deceived. And the indicative mood is for the reality of him not being deceived at the garden. And Adam was not deceived at all. But they, and then he, gune, the woman, going back to Ewa, the woman, and then exapateitesa. And this is the same word, exapatao, as this one, apatao, exapatao. But here it has a preposition. It forms a compound word. Exapatao, was deceived out, fully deceived, completely deceived. The woman, having been completely deceived. Why? Because this is an aorist passive participle of exapatao. But the woman, having been deceived. Now that's because it's an aorist tense. It precedes the action of the main verb. I'm sorry, because it's an aorist participle. It precedes the action of the main verb. The main verb is right here. Ginomai, gegonen. Having been deceived, she became, and parabase, she became a sinner. And now verse 15, the promise of childbearing. After she sinned, and after God sentenced them, she became the childbearer. There was a metamorphosis. The man could have become the childbearer or the woman. And it's a thought that kind of scares me, but she became the childbearer afterwards. And look, but the contrast, but soteisei tai, the future passive indicative of sotso, she will be saved. Talking about the woman. She will be saved. Dia plus the genitive of teknogonias, teknogonias, bearing of children. And what does it mean? Because people can come here and misinterpret this. Look, if I do not know the Greek, if I don't know anything about theology, but woman will be saved through childbearing. And they're immediately going to ascribe some soteriological attributes to childbearing and saying that this is the woman's duty and every woman must have a child, and if you're not doing so, you're not fulfilling your purpose as a woman. That is not true. You don't have to have a child. In fact, children are some of the biggest sources of misery, the biggest reasons of misery. Marriage is one of them. Having children is another source of misery. And a woman is here to grow in the plan of God. She is not mandated to grow, have children and this and that. And if you're not doing so, you're not a woman. And why haven't you had your children? Why haven't you gotten married? You're already treintona, etc. It doesn't matter. You're here living life and you're mandated to grow in the plan of God and form this inner beauty in verse 9 and 10 through the daily cognition of Bible doctrine. So what does it mean, Arturo? What does it mean? What does it mean? Come on. So teiseta de dia teknogonias, she will be saved through childbearing. Going back to Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. After the fall, I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. And look, yes. Go back to the serpent. Between you and the woman, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. And what is this offspring? It is the Lord Jesus Christ. He will crush your head, the strategic victory in the angelic conflict. And you, the serpent, will strike his heel. This is the cross. Satan tried to kill him before the cross, obviously. And so this is the gospel promises right here of the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ, the first advent. And this is the promise of childbearing. She will be saved through childbearing. How? She will produce, her offspring will bring about the Lord Jesus Christ, the Messiah. That's what it means, saved through childbearing. Now, our question is, nope, they did not have children. They were not meant to have children. There is a promise in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, that they were mandated to fill the earth, but this was for afterwards, after the fall.